Hey Bunny, welcome back to my channel or welcome if it is your first time here. My name is Hanni and today is Monday, which means it's Mystery Marriage Monday. So if you don't know what Mystery Marriage Monday is, it's basically every single Monday I come here. I'm here every single Monday.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
I try, okay? I try, but I'm gonna do better, okay? So every single Monday, I come here and I tell a story about a mystery marriage, a mysterious marriage. So yeah, if it's your first time here and you are interested in true crime or you like true crime, please hit the subscribe button and join the family because I'm here every single Monday. So, today's story is about Paul Riddle. Paul Riddle was raised by his single mother because his father left them while he was still young. Growing up, Paul always felt insecure. He always felt like his mother didn't really like him or his mother resented him, and he always searched for approval for his mother. And because home or being with his mother was not his happiest place, his first passion quickly became football. Paul was really good at football and he played football as a kid until he grew up, and so like football was the one place where he could put all his energy into, all the resentment with that he felt at home. He could put that all into football, and so football was his first passion. In the fall of 1998, Paul has turned 28 and he wanted to put his energy into something else. Like he wanted to start something bigger than himself, something away from football. And he was like a fitness guru. He liked fitness. So Paul and his best friend Alex decided to start a 24-hour gym. Paul and his best friend were described as those two best friends that if you saw on the street, you would be like, are you guys twins? Are you guys brothers? They were those type of best friends, the ones that did everything together and they spent every single minute of every day together for years. So they basically became family, and when people saw them, they thought they were brothers because not only did they have the same body build, they also drove the same car and they both had dark hair. This will come into play later into the story, so please remember that. So during this time, Paul and Alex's business was taking off. They were making money and they were just well off, and Paul wasn't really looking for a relationship, but I mean, we all know this happens. Like when a guy is like working out, he has the muscle, he has the body. It kind of just happened that women are kind of like drawn towards him. So he just had a lot of women that were interested in him, and as much as he didn't want the relationship, like the women were just there, they wanted him, the business, okay. But anyways, Paul wasn't really looking for a relationship, but then somehow he met Leanne. Leanne worked at a bar that Paul used to go to, and Leanne was a single mother to a son. And so Paul just saw the type of nurturing nature that Leanne had towards her son, and because he was the person that always kind of like seeked for approval from his mother, he was a baby mama's boy. He fell in love with Leanne because of her nature. So they began going on dates, going out on dinner dates, and then eventually like they started dating. A year after they started dating, Leanne tells Paul that she's pregnant, and so Paul was like, okay, we need to take this to the next level. So Paul proposes to Leanne, and then they get married, and then 7 months later, Leanne gives birth to their son, and they named their son Nicola. Paul describes his wedding day as one of the best days of his life. He said it was a beautiful day, a beautiful wedding, and he only had two groomsmen. That was Alex and another friend of his, and it was just an amazing day. After the birth of Nicholas, all that Paul wanted was just to be a father. He wanted to be the best father he could ever be. And he describes himself as like during this time, he learned how to laugh and how to give without receiving anything in return. So, yes, he enjoyed being a father, he enjoyed being married, but Paul was still young in his mind. Paul was only 28, and so he still enjoyed going out. Okay, at this point he was like 29. He still enjoyed going out with his friends, he still enjoyed going clubbing, and so Paul would do this so often. Like sometimes he would be home very late, and then Leanne started hating this behavior, and so sometimes he would get home and late, and Leanne would confront him like, "No, why are you so late? Why are you doing this? Like, why are you home this time only?" That type of thing. You know how us women we get. So yeah, Paul, obviously being a young man who just wants to live and go out, like he didn't take it that seriously. He still kept going out and doing all the shenanigans. And then one day while Paul is at the gym, he gets a phone call and he's like, "Hi, Paul, there's like 2 moving trucks in front of your house right now." And Paul was like, "2 moving trucks, what's going on?" So Paul rushes home. When he gets home, he finds Leon packed up, living with Nicholas. So Paul tried to convince Leanne not to leave, but Leanne's mind was already made up. She told Paul that she would be moving to Florida to go live with her mother. And Paul was like, "Okay, fine." Like he was okay with Leanne leaving and them getting a divorce, but then he soon realized that if Leanne left, Leanne is taking Nicholas along, which meant he wouldn't be able to see his son. Like he lives in New York, and Leanne is moving to Florida. Florida, New York, that is like, there's no way that he'll be able to spend time with his son. It's too far. So what Paul did was drive immediately, like literally right away. He drove to his lawyer and he spoke to his lawyer, and then his lawyer, started going at it and like finding a way to get Nicholas back. And so what the lawyer then realized is that according to the law in New York, you cannot, one parent that has now custody over the child, if 2 parents have custody over the child, one of the parents cannot just decide to take off and leave for a long time with the child and not tell the other parent. That was actually illegal. So Leanne got served with papers that tell her that she had to bring Nicholas back to New York within 22 days or risk the chance of losing custody over Nicholas. So 22 days later, Leanne comes back to New York with Nicholas, and they are supposed to go to court. So Leanne and Paul walk into the office, into the lawyer's office, and the lawyer is like shocked because Paul is holding the baby in her hand, and then Nicole and Leanne is pushing the stroller, right? And so he's like, and then Paul goes and says, we need you to withdraw the case because Leanne and I are going to work through our issues and we are going to get back together. So we need you to withdraw the case. This came as a shock to the lawyer because he was like, "Wait, okay, maybe I'll withdraw the charges," but then it just didn't sit right with him because guess what? While Nicole was in New York, in Florida, before she came back to New York, she filed papers asking the court not to force her to move back to New York because apparently there was a mafia contract to kill Nicole and to kill Paul out. So if there's a mafia contract to kill Paul out there, then why should she be forced to come live with this man? So that just didn't sit right with his lawyer, that now all of a sudden she wants to move back and come live in New York after she just filed those papers while she was in Florida. Anyways, the lawyer really didn't look much into this because the lawyer knew Paul wasn't associated with any gangs, Paul wasn't associated with any mafias, so he really didn't look much into this. He was just like, the people don't want to file charges, so it didn't sit right with him, but there was nothing that he could do. So Paul and Leanne went back to living their life together, and Paul was trying his hard, to be the good husband he has to be, so he could spend time with his son. But on the other side, Leanne was just not in the relationship. Leanne was just not happy, and sometimes Leanne would tell Paul that, "Oh, please take care of this of Nicholas. I'll be back now." Then she will go out pretending that she's going to the grocery store, but then she would just go out and go to a payphone and make phone calls for like long hours. So one of Paul's friend calls Paul and he's like, "Paul, is everything fine at home? Because Leanne is here at the payphone and she's been here for quite a while." And so when Leanne and Paul obviously didn't know, like, "Oh no, everything is fine, I'm not so sure." So when Leanne got back home, Paul confronts Leanne and she's like, and he asked her like, "Yeah, is everything fine? You were at the payphone for long." And then Leanne tells Paul that, "No, it's just my mother. She's giving me a tough time now." And Paul knew that Leanne's mother didn't really like him, so he kind of understood, and he didn't really think too much into it. So he also didn't have the time to go think too much into it, because like 2 weeks later, Paul goes out on a date, not a date like with another girl. He goes out on a dinner date. He goes out for dinner. Let's just say that, with his friend. And while he's out, he gets a phone call, not Alex, just another friend. He gets a phone call from Leanne, crying and shocked, and she's in shock and she's scared for her life, and she's like, "Yeah, Alex has been murdered." And Paul was like, "What? Why would anybody shoot Alex? Alex is quiet. Alex doesn't fight with anyone. Alex doesn't have problems with anyone. If anybody has a problem with anyone in this town, it probably has to be him, but not Alex." Like, Paul was the one that was known as like the tough guy, the I don't know how to explain, but like Paul was the one that's most likely to get into a fight with anyone in town, but not Alex. Alex was just a very calm guy, down to earth. He was just not into that thing. Okay, so Paul was like shocked, like, who would shoot Alex? Like, what's going on? So what happened was that Alex was at the gym, and he was going out of the gym to go get CDs from his car. And when he got out, he didn't know, like little did he know, there were two guys waiting for him in a car outside, parked outside. So he got out. As soon as he got to his car and opened the car, people started firing at him, like people started shooting at him. So he tries to crawl back and run back into the gym, and he screams to a witness, "I've been shot, I've been shot." They call the ambulance. He goes to the hospital, but then he ends up dying 2 weeks later. The following days were really hard on Paul. The other person that was there for him was his wife. She went to the funeral with him, but then the strange thing about that was that she didn't cry a single tear at the funeral, which was strange for him, but like he didn't think too much into it, because it was like, yeah, everyone deals with tragedy differently. So but at least she was there for him. As time went on, investigations went on, and the police soon realized that nobody would have wanted Alex dead, and that the one person that would have probably had enemies that would want him dead had to be Paul. Although he's not associated with gangs or anything like that, there's just no way anybody would have wanted Alex dead besides Paul. And since they are both of the same body build, same hair, drive the same car, chances were it was a mistaken identity and the wrong person got killed. And also since Leanne had actually already filed papers to say that she shouldn't be forced to come live in New York, because there's a hit out there for Paul. It just seemed that, okay, this was a mistaken identity case. So then Leanne comes to Paul, and she's like all dramatic and everything, and she's like, "Yeah, no, there's no way I should be I can be living here in New York with the kid, especially now that we know that somebody tried to kill you, and actually ended up killing Alex instead of you. So let me just move to Florida and go stay there with the child. And Paul was like, yeah, sure. Go to Florida, go stay there with your mother. And then as soon as Leanne leaves, Paul immediately goes to his lawyer. He writes his will, and he basically leaves everything to Leanne, hoping that if he was to get killed and he dies, then at least Leanne would be able to take care of Nicholas, and like he would have left money and something for Nicholas. So Leanne moves to Florida with Nicholas, and then Paul would always travel between New York and Florida, so that he could still spend time with his son and his wife. And a few months later, like while Leanne is living in Florida, she finds out she's pregnant. Paul is happy, is excited, all that Paul wanted for his life was just to be a father. Like, that was the most exciting thing about life for him. It was just being a father, and then him just losing his best friend, and then finding out he's expecting a child. He just felt like it was a blessing for him. Anyways, one day while Paul is one day when Paul gets into town in Florida now to visit Leanne, he gets a phone call from his friend, and the friend tells him that no, every time you leave, there's a guy that Leanne always goes out with, and this guy is called Rocco. So Paul obviously confronts Leanne about this, and Leanne goes like, no, that's just my friend. Where did you hear that from? She gets all dramatic, how women get like, and she's like, no, that's just my friend. But then Paul didn't buy it, so he just went back to New York. So when Paul returned back to New York a few weeks later, Leanne serves him with divorce papers. What was strange is that when you only need to have stayed at least 6 months in Florida for you to be considered a resident of Florida. So Leanne had just been in Florida for 6 months and 2 weeks, and then this was the time when she went to go file for divorce, and then that's when Paul got served with divorce papers. And what Paul's lawyer realized was that now that Nicholas and Leanne had been able to live in Florida for 6 months and can prove that they are basically residents of Florida for 6 months, there was actually nothing that, and because it was with the consent of Paul that they lived there for that long, there was nothing that the lawyers could have done to actually force Leanne to bring Nicholas back to New York. So they had to go through the whole divorce procedures and everything, and this was just so stressful for Paul. And this was like a year after Alex was murdered, and Alex's matter has still not been solved. And that's when Paul was going through depression. He was just going through the most, okay? Not only are you losing your child, there's this wife of yours that's giving you a hard time. You can't even spend time with your child, and then she's pregnant. And then what happens was that when she went to go give birth to the second child that she was pregnant with, now she didn't even tell Paul. Paul just found out like, no, Leanne went to go give birth. And when Leanne and then Paul tried to call hospitals just so that he can find out in which hospital they are, so that he can go there and see his son. There was nothing he could find. There was no information he could find. There was no answers to his questions, and he just felt so hopeless that not only is this person giving birth to my child, but I can't even see my child. This was a really difficult time for Paul, and a whole year has went by, and still nothing has come of who tried to kill Alex. And yeah, anyways, so time goes by. It's in November 2001, and the police arrest the guy. So part of a normal procedure of the police when they arrest someone is to ask the person if they have any knowledge of any crimes. This person then admits to the police that he knows who killed Alex, and the police are like, okay, so who killed Alex? He tells the police that the person that killed Alex is actually Rocco. The police quickly learn that Rocco is Leanne's friend that that Paul found out was they were having an affair with, but then Leanne said no, it wasn't an affair, they were just friends. Yes, that Rocco was the Rocco that the guy that got arrested claimed killed Alex. So the police go and they arrest Rocco. Rocco did not even take that long. Like, it just took minutes for Rocco to spill the beans. He tells the police that no, Leanne gave them a picture, gave him and Leanne were having an affair, and obviously they wanted to kill Paul so that Leanne and Rocco and Nicholas can start their own new life in Florida. So when Leanne was going to Florida, going to stay with her mother, she was actually going there to go see Rocco, the boyfriend, and Rocco was also like a bodybuilder, so Leanne had a type, okay? She had a type for the bodybuilders. So yeah, Rocco tells the police that no, Leanne gave us a picture of Paul to go kill Paul. However, Paul and Alex looked the same. They drove the same car, and they both co-owned a gym, and they didn't know about this. So when they got there, they just got to the gym, they saw the car, okay, that's the car, and then Alex comes out, wrong guy, they kills him, and then apparently after they killed Alex, Leanne called them and told them, you, the F word, idiot, killed the wrong guy. Literally, that was what Leanne said to Rocco when she found out Alex died and not Paul. But anyways, yeah, and then shortly after that, Leanne got arrested in March 2003 at her home, and then in 2004, Leanne was found guilty of first-degree murder and for orchestrating murder, and she was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Paul's life went on. He went and got married again. He has a daughter now, so he has Nicholas and a daughter, and he has full custody of Nicholas, and he's still running his gym, and he just wants to, you know, move on with life and not look backwards, and just know that everything happens for a reason and life goes on. So I guess so today's moral, or like the moral of the story, is like, you never know who you are getting married to. Like, some women are willing to do anything and everything to, I guess, take a child away from the father, even if that means killing the father. Man, sure. Anyway, so that was the mistaken identity of Nicholas and Alex, and how the wrong guy got killed, basically because somebody just wanted full custody of a child, because somebody wanted to go have an affair. Damn. Wow. Alright, anyways guys, that's the end of the story. If you like Mystery Marriage Mondays, please let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. I spoke way too fast. Let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.